Yo, what's up, guys? It's Batterin here. Alright, so today I'm going to do a movie review on the movie Shazam. It's not exactly a review, it's just my thoughts on the movie, and I just wanted to share that with you so we can have like a discussion. Maybe you guys can share your thoughts in the comments as well once you've listened to this. And before I start, beware, there are going to be spoilers. So if you haven't watched the movie already, I suggest you go watch it before you check out this video. But yeah, have I given you enough time to close this video in case you haven't watched it yet? Okay, so now I'm going to tell you what I thought about Shazam as a superhero movie. So Shazam was a movie that was based on children. Okay, I just went too deep already. It was a child. I said children because there were more members of that superhero class which was seen later on in the movie, but I'll come back to that later. So yeah, Shazam is a very entertaining movie because the superhero himself is a kid. So basically he acts and walks and talks, and his whole personality is a kid's personality. So if you imagine that, it's just hilarious to see. It's kind of like Deadpool, because Deadpool acts like a kid sometimes, although he makes adult humor jokes, but it's hilarious. If you watch the movie, throughout the whole movie, you'll be laughing. Seriously, there's like little jokes here and there that just it makes it funny. But the problem is, if you've watched the trailers beforehand, the teaser trailer, the original normal trailer, it will spoil the funny moments in the movie. For example, there's a scene where he charges people's phones as he walks through a school corridor. He just, I think it was, I can't remember now. He just basically whizzes each one of their cell phones, and then he does it to one guy, and then his cell phone just starts exploding, and he's like, "What the fuck, dude?" Like, well, he didn't literally say that, but he somewhere along those lines. But it's funny. It's definitely an entertaining movie because it keeps you entertained throughout. And there was a scene as well that that was really eye-opening for me because it was funny, but it also made me think about other movies, because there was a scene where the supervillain and Shazam were both in midair, and the villain was having his you know typical villain speech, his villain talk. Like he's like, "Oh, I am going to be, I am the chosen one for this." Um, like how villains normally talk. Typical villains normally talk when they are jealous of the um hero's gift that he has, but he wants to take it, for example. And he's while he says that, Shazam himself can't hear him because of how far they are apart, and that really shows how like how people talk in superhero fights when they're really far apart from each other, but somehow they can hear each other. But here he's like, "Oh, I can't hear what you're saying. I can't hear what you're saying." He's being very real and genuine. He's basically taking the mickey out of any movie that does that. Not even movie, but even if you watch like animes and stuff, people when they're in the middle of a battle, for example, Naruto. If any of you guys watch Naruto, when they're in the middle of a fight and they're like really far apart from each other and they're talking really quietly and they expect the other enemy to hear him, they'll just be like whispering, and then he manages to hear him from the other side of the freaking hallway, or whatever it is. So yeah, it shows how stupid and unrealistic movies and animes can be in that way. Um, for example, there was in Amazing Spider-Man 2, when Spider-Man was fighting against Electro in the final battle, he had a little Electro was giving Spider-Man a little dirty talk. Well, not dirty, but villainous talk to him. and I was also confused how Spider-Man could hear that. So yeah, it was just hilarious. That overall scene was just, it was smart. I like that. Nicely done, nicely done. Um, and the highlight of the whole movie for me was as soon as his friends who were in the foster home, who were living with him, touched the staff, and then he told them to say his name, but they said Billy before they said Shazam, which was funny. And then they said Shazam, and then they all had powers just like Billy. And that surprised me because they did not show anything like that in the trailer. Like, not even a glimpse of any other members of this superhero clan or whatever it is. Yeah, that really surprised me, and I was I was happy they did that because it really it really made the movie greater. It Because you need a bit of surprise in that movie. You need a bit of thrill, and that's the scene that just did it for me. It seriously did it for me. Yeah. Um, One bad point about that movie was the way he got his powers. Like, to me, I think the way he just traveled through the, I don't know what it was. I think it was a portal or the doorway. When he travels to the doorway into where the wizard is sitting, and then the way he granted him with this power, it was a bit cheesy for me. I mean, it was funny, and it's like very. I know it's a superhero movie, and that's how it would be for a typical superhero movie. But to me, it was too. I think there should be a further step to how he got his powers. Like, it was too quick for me. But I think it worked out because the other scenes in the movie made up for that anyways. So overall it was an entertaining movie, but it's just the way, and also the villain himself, he was very typical. He was very stereotypical for a villain. Like, I know he had a bad experience with his family and his childhood, and like he was being like the odd one out and all that, but he still somehow just got a scar on his eye like villains have, and then an evil eye, and then he's wearing black, like how villains are supposed to wear like darker toned colors, whereas the superheroes wear bright and vibrant colors just to stand out and be heroic and all that. That was very typical, but for a movie like this, it worked out. It actually worked out. So yeah, I mean, it's a balance. It's a balance. So overall, if I were to rate this movie out of 10, I would give it maybe a 6.5. 6. Okay, I'm being generous. Okay, for a DC movie, like DC movies haven't been doing well so far. I mean, they could have been better. I mean, Batman vs Superman was all right. It was good. It was good, but I feel like they could have done better than they actually did. So I'd probably rate it a 6.9, 6.9 out of 10. So yeah, it is worth the watch. Shazam is worth the watch, but if you watch the trailers, then you wouldn't be surprised with some of the funny scenes that pop up in that movie anyways. But I chose Shazam over Captain Marvel, and it worked out. So yeah. But anyways, I hope you guys like my thoughts on this movie. Please share your thoughts on this movie in the comments down below, and just rate this movie out of 10 as well. Just give me a rating as well. But I hope you guys like my movie review. And please like, comment, and subscribe. Appreciate the support, and peace out.